Hello and welcome to Yoga Beyond Menopause. I'm Lizzie Lasater, and teaching us today is Judith Hansen Lasater. Hi, Mama.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
So Mama is zooming in from Connecticut, where she's visiting grandkids, and I'm here in Salzburg, Austria. We'd love to know where you're joining from. Please find your way to the chat before we get officially started, and let us know where in the world you're joining from. Let me make sure I've turned on the chat for everyone. Everyone can chat with everyone. Where are you joining from? Ohio, California. Ooh, it's going fast. UK, Scotland, Boston, Phoenix, Washington, D.C. Welcome. Welcome. Virginia, New Jersey, Texas. Welcome, yoginis. The other question I'd like to know before we start with our minute of silence and our meditation, as we always do here at lasater.yoga, tell us what courses you have already taken with us. Just give a note into the chat. Have you done our Relax and Renew? Have you done Somatic Strength? Have you done Deep Rest? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Pelvis is everything. Anatomy, experiential anatomy. Okay. So lots of friends here from the Sangha, from the community of practitioners. Here's our plan for today, and then I'll pass it to Mom to get us started. We would like to offer a little bit of hopefulness, a little bit of a sales pitch about our upcoming course, Somatic Woman, a little bit of Sangha and connection with each other around the world, and then a practice. So if you can now, arrange yourself. We'll hopefully spend the last 30 or 40 minutes together on the mat. And you'll want to have a couple blankets, a bolster, a couple blocks, an eye cover, and a yoga mat, of course. All right, Mama, if you would, please get us started with our moment of silence.
So our tradition here together, and my tradition in my classes for many years, is to start with nothing. We don't want to just think, how I'm going to do yoga. We're going to start with being yoga, being the silence, being the stillness, being present. So sit in front of your sitting bones, drop your chin, soften your tongue and your jaw. I'm going to ring the bells once. We'll sit for just a minute or so. It doesn't take any time to become present. Just go to the center of your brain, drop your chin, then I'll ring the bells again. Namaste.
Namaste. So before I show a little bit about Somatic Woman, the course, which is just open for enrollment today, Mama, what is the big idea for our class, our time together? Yoga Beyond Menopause is not really something I've heard discussed that much in the yoga world. Give us some hope.
Are you ready? Do you have your pens? Are you writing on your phone? Are you making a text? What? This is it. Menopause is not a mistake. It's not a failure. It's not a mistake. It's not a weakness. it is a part of our lives that can offer, shockingly, great benefits. So I want us to turn toward it. And if you're practicing yoga, and I'm sure you're paying attention to diet and you're doing a lot of other things for your health, all of those things are going to make it, for most of us, an easier transition than you would believe.
Okay, I love hearing that. I'd also love to see in the chat where you are on that journey, if you're willing to share. Are you pre-menopause? Are you in perimenopause, which are the transition years? Or are you post-menopause, which means you have spent 12 months without a period? Where are you sitting on that continuum? I want to show my screen now, share my screen and show this course, which we have made with the wonderful Mary Richards, who many of you know. And if you don't know her yet, you're going to fall in love with her in the course. So this is a course called Somatic Woman, which was just turned on today. Enrollment opened at Lasater.yoga. I'm going to put this link for you in the chat in just a moment. I'm also going to include this in the PDF notes, which you will all receive. I'm taking notes from today's session, including listing the sequence and any recommendations, books, etc. that Mama mentions. So if you go to Lasater.yoga, I'll just show you as well how to navigate to this page, to the Somatic Woman. If you go to www.lasater.yoga and scroll down, here we are, Somatic Woman. It's available to pre-order. And here it's showing $550, but there's a big discount. It's not going to cost you that much if you want to jump in. So it starts on May 8th. That we're going to start with our monthly live classes. 6 months, we're going to gather together and do 2-hour live classes each month with either Mom or with Mary. If you come to this page,
and
me, I'm always there. Okay, you're stuck with me. So you might want to watch this little video. You can read about the teachers. If you don't know Mary Richards, there she is. You can read about her. She's a yoga therapist and self-proclaimed anatomy nerd. This talks a little bit about the course, about the maturing female body, which is where we are, where we're coming to the mat. Here you can click through and read, just see a visual of the curriculum of what's included. And then this tells you about the Zoom classes, when they are. All of them are recorded, of course. We know time zones, busy lives, they're all recorded for you. And then what's important to know about this course is that it's a cohort-based course, which is a fancy term that means we're all going to start together and we're going to move through the course together as a group. And these are some of the benefits if you've never taken a cohort course. There's a place to ask questions. You'll join some of these live classes. Feels a little bit more like community, although it also is somewhat self-paced because there's pre-recorded material for you. We think that this course is designed for someone who is pre-perimenopause, so is before the transition. That's me. I'm 41 years old. I'm fascinated by what's coming next. I'm still having regular periods. The course is for you if you're in perimenopause. It's going to be really helpful. The course is also for you if you're post-menopause, if you're no longer bleeding, because we include a whole month about that phase. This course is for you if you're a yoga teacher and if you're a serious student. You absolutely don't have to be a yoga teacher. If you frequently asked questions. And then the last thing I'll share about this page is just understanding how you can join. The full normal price is $550 for this 6-month immersion. You can join the course now for the pre-enrollment, either $450 or 6 monthly payments of $75. You're going to click this button to choose one of those options. For the first time with this course, we're offering a bundle option. We're curious to see if that's interesting for students. So if you want to join, you would get Somatic Woman plus our beloved course, Somatic Strength, and our Shavasana intensive course. You would get all of this.
Shavasana intensive always makes me want to giggle.
Isn't that a great? So that's a course that Mama and I made. It's a 21-day immersion in yoga's most powerful pose.
Shavasana
And
every day.
Shavasana every day for 21 days. And we get so much wonderful feedback that starts to shift people's whole perspective about rest and busyness and
And their
relaxation.
practice, and their practice.
And what is yoga? What is enough? Yeah. So if you want to join with the bundle, here's like that kind of full price you would pay for all 3 of those courses, and you would be getting that for either $75 or for 6 monthly payments, which I think is going to be a really attractive option for people. That is my offering for you. I'll put that link in the chat now. And Mama will start with some of the surprising benefits of this phase of our practice, Yoga Beyond Menopause.
The way when I was raised in the culture of my mother and my grandmother was born in 1890. And she influenced my mother, and my mother influenced me, as of course. But they called the menstrual period the curse. Women didn't talk about it, and menopause was very taboo. She's a woman of a certain age. And there was the belief that basically your life was on the downhill immediately. You weren't attractive, you weren't interested in sex, you didn't have a lot of energy, you didn't. And so there was this cultural shaping that still filters down from social mores a long time ago. I mean, it's not that long ago that when women started to really show and be pregnant, they didn't go out in polite company because their bellies would show that they were pregnant, and that meant they had sex, and we can't think about sex or talk about sex. So I think what we're doing now, and how much more freedom there is with the pregnant body and pregnant bathing suits, and is that we're beginning to open the door more and more. And certainly I believe this course does, to the naturalness of menopause, which has some benefits. So here's one: no more menstrual cramps.
Yes.
No more bleeding. No birth control. And you may have a surge of energy. In part, some experts believe we have a surge of energy in menopause because we're not losing blood every month. And women tend to be lower in iron anyway than men. And so you have that extra iron, and you might have this menopausal vigor, this like surge of energy. You're more free in your practice without menstruation. Perhaps you feel, as many women have reported, less ambitious and naturally a little more content because the hormonal levels are leveling out a bit. I remember before I went even into perimenopause, I spoke to an older friend of mine, and I said, well, how do you know you're going into, perimenopause? Or first, I'd never heard of that before, so I learned that. How do you know you're going into menopause? She said to me, you don't really have, you have mood swings, she said. And I looked at her and I said, how do you tell? I was already having mood swings. That's a possible thing. Okay. You often feel, and part of it's aging, but I think part of it's the hormonal evenness, and more satisfied with simple things. You can type in the chat whether you agree or disagree with some of these things. Your mood is more even. And one of the things, all of this is integrated in a big stew, a big soup in a pot. But the likelihood is that you have greater, if you've had children, you have so much reduced childcare responsibilities. But it may also be true that you're not getting up in the night to feed your baby. You might be getting up to go to the bathroom at least once or twice as you get older. But So that feels like a spaciousness in our lives. We are freer to devote ourselves to our hobbies and to our work and to being even more powerful in the world. And the last thing I want to say, though, it might be a surprise idea, but we all know that what menopause, why it happens is because, excuse me, there's less female hormones, the estrogen level drop, the progesterone levels drop. They drop, but they don't go away. So that means if this is the line, you have to have this hormonal shifting created by the pituitary and the ovaries. It has to break, you have to, in order to break through, to have a period, to produce an egg and have it leave the ovary and the whole process to happen, the lining of the uterus to change. So when the hormones don't just go from being here to non-existent, we still have a slight up and down of these hormones. You still have estrogen, you still have progesterone. It just isn't enough. This combination of these hormones is not enough to cause you to break through into having a period. So what I like to do is the last 3 days of the month, I pretend I'm having a period and I do a really quiet practice like the ones you're going to learn in the course. We'll talk about in the course some that help us even out the energy of menstruation, even though we're not physically menstruating anymore. It's a namaste to our bodies and to its wisdom. The other thing that I found out is that it's often true that people gain a little weight when they go into menopause. And of course, for probably most of us, we don't like that idea, but I just want to slip in a little interesting fact about that. Estrogen is stored in fat cells. And maybe, just maybe, the wisdom of the body is retaining a little more fat, which has 2 effects. It's a source of estrogen. And maybe a little more weight on the bones contributes to your bone health. Because bones grow along lines of stress. And so when you fracture a bone in your body, a weight-bearing bone, and you begin to weight bear, you really stimulate the bone to grow together well. But even the astronauts, when they're up in space for fairly short periods of time, they lose bone mass because they're not in gravity. And the body says, okay, you don't need this structure, and they're going to take the calcium and use it elsewhere. Use it or lose it. So these are some of the brighter side. And I think the other thing I think about menopause, if I speak of it in a philosophical way, is it is inevitable. It is inevitable. It's not a mistake. It's inevitable. Life has its rhythms. And I think maybe on a deep level, when we get upset about menopause because it reminds us we're now in a different stage, slightly closer to the end. Without being morbid, our life starts, goes, and ends. And we all know that. It's the thing we deny the most. So it is inevitable. And when we can accept the inevitability of it, we begin to find the joy in it.
Oh, I like that. So there's something in the chat from someone in Ohio saying weight gain has been a major problem for me more than just a little. I'm concerned about heart health and blood pressure. We talk about that in Somatic Woman in the course. Mary Richards does a science talk each month, and she talks very clearly about when to seek more allopathic medical attention. There are definitely health concerns that are beyond. We're not preaching the philosophy that yoga can solve everything and heal everything, and just do a few ohms and a few dog poses and your menopause will be fine. So we definitely talk about those parameters and warning signs. What I'd love to see in the chat before we move to the mat is which of those benefits that Mama just listed for us, which of them have you experienced if you're in post-menopause? So like, or what's your favorite benefit? What did you hear that really resonated with you? The cramps, the bleeding, no birth control, the surge of energy, more free in your yoga practice, less ambitious, more satisfied by simple things, your mood is more even, less childcare responsibilities, more spaciousness, more free to devote ourselves to our hobbies, more time for yoga. And I love the idea of taking a couple days to pretend we have a period. Contentment, no pain, more energy, self-care, more restful. I'm reading from the chat, more energy, more energy, please, says Tracy. Well, ironically, one of the things that we talk about in the course is that one way to tap into this energy is by doing restorative yoga. Can you say one sentence, Mom, about how resting deeply can refill our deep stores of energy?
All of us are under tremendous stress in the world today. And add to that the fact that we're exhausted emotionally from COVID, from the wars, from politics, from in our lives, the specific lives we lead, what's happening as we get older. Our parents get older, and that can become a difficult thing. And all of that has such a detrimental effect on the immune system. This is based in science. The immune system, your psychology, your physiology, it's all affected. And so I think of stress. Stress is about wanting to be somewhere else. It's about wanting to be through with the exams, through with the remodel. I want to be finished with my yoga teacher training program. I want to be done with this. Looking forward to the time my young children can go to kindergarten or preschool for the mornings and having my time. We always want to be somewhere else. The mind is telling us that life is coming. Tomorrow is going to be better, or this is going to be better. And so we are not living in the present. When we lie down on the floor and do shavasana, we take the psychological and physical weight of stress off our body. We let go into the present moment, into this breath, without a thought of the future, without ruminating on the past. We become deeply present and we let go. This is the fundamental lesson of yoga. The wider yoga is the art of learning to let go. To let go of attachment to thought, fear for the future, agitation. And shavasana is a ritual of renewal. There's not one single contraindication to relaxation.
Or negative side effect.
There is one. If you're swimming, you can't totally relax. You have to keep swimming. But you can float. It is the most powerful thing you can do. It is meditative. It is integrative. It is healing. It is simple, and it costs nothing and does not require $150 yoga pants.
To relax. No, it's true. Okay, there's a lot of people talking about dryness in the chat. We're not going to talk about that today. Also, some people saying hormone replacement therapy was wonderful. People are so individual. We also mentioned in the course, you should see an endocrinologist and get specific tailored help to your hormones. Obviously, that's out of the scope of practice of yoga therapy. and yoga teachers what we're doing. So let's move to the mat, Mom. You have a sequence planned for us. I'm going to pin myself. Mom will still be here. Spotlight for everyone. Mom is here, but we just won't see her. What is the theme of today's practice? How would you describe, why have you picked this sequence of poses?
Softness, receptivity, stillness, and ease.
Okay.
So, start.
Okay. So the first pose is dog pose at the wall. Do you want me to teach it?
No. I want to start with Upavista.
Ah, okay. So
I want to make sure we have time for shavasana.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get a bolster. And the key thing about this pose is that you need to tip your pelvis forward. You can do that by folding up a blanket and sitting halfway on, halfway off. I'm going to use this gorgeous ball that I love. I'll include the link in the notes. You can find it on Amazon, etc. This I'm just going to place slightly under my bum to help me tip forward. And now we're going to show a few options depending on flexibility levels for this pose. So Upavista is
wide open legs.
Wide leg, forward bend. And let me just slow down for 1 second before I even take the bolster. I'm going to turn a little bit more to the side so you can see I'm sitting kind of on this ball or on a blanket or a pillow even in a pinch. And then I'm shifting forward so that my pelvis is tilting forward. And I'm actually going to get the special magic white towel. This is a purely visual aid. You do not need this towel, but let me just show you because it can help show the tipping a little bit more so that you can see what's happening with my pelvis as I begin to prepare for the pose. So my pelvis is tipping forward here.
That's the key to pose. If that's impossible for you, you need to sit up on a chair and lean forward or modify the pose, because if you do it with your spine rounding back, you're not opening the belly, like you're not giving space for the uterus.
So let me show what that looks like with a blanket, which most people have, because you haven't got this ball yet, which you're going to fall in love with. So what I've done is I've turned my blanket so the point is facing forward, almost like a bicycle seat. And then I'm going to sit on that. And it's the same movement here. Drop the pubic bone here and comes forward. Okay, so let me remove this. And what do you love about this pose, Mom? Why is this pose? It's a pose which had kind of fallen out of my practice for a while until Feather Pipe Ranch retreat with you a year or two ago. You taught it and I thought, oh, this feels good. I should practice this more.
All right. This is a pose that connects you with the earth. Mm-hmm. It is a pose of opening the whole lower pelvis, but also it's a pose, because it's a pose of support, it is also a refuge. Close your eyes, you bend forward. So it's introverted, but also open for the belly, which is good for the uterus.
So this is sort of level 1. You could place your bolster vertically, rest the hands, rest the forehead. And I have more flexibility in my body, but this still feels amazing, this kind of level 1 setting. So don't necessarily shy away from easier, quote unquote, easier versions. Yeah.
I wish you had a blanket to wrap around your kidneys.
Ooh, I can do it. And then we're going to show 2 more variations.
Yes.
So this, what you can do is take a blanket, open it up. I actually have to open it 1 more. And then I'm going to take it, wrap it around my lower back, right where the ribs start.
A little above, so you catch the last rib, right? You're catching the last rib with the blanket.
Yeah, I'm above. I'm sort of above, 2-3 ribs above.
Ribs. Excellent.
And then the same. What do you like about the blanket, Mom?
Everything. It's warm, it's supportive. I think it affects the kidney chi. It helps to keep the kidney area warm. It's like, have you ever had a jacket that was short to the waist in the back and didn't really go down low? There's that sense of wanting to, for me at least, and many other people, is to keep the small of the back and right above it, that whole kidney area warm.
Okay, let me show you
What do
now.
you like about it? What do you like about it?
I feel held
You feel, yes, exactly.
energetically. So another option is to turn the bolster. And we hope you're on your mat with us, experimenting and finding what works for you. Turn the bolster like this, and you can press it into the belly and round forward.
And I would say you could stay anywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes, depending on your timing and how you're feeling in your body that day. And it's up to you, but try to stay at least 1 minute and tuck your chin, and soften your shoulder blades, drop them down. So there's just a little bit of action in your legs. We're gonna lose Lizzie if she stays too long.
Okay, third option, which obviously there's a moral hierarchy here. If you can go deeper into the pose, you are a better yogi and a better person. That was a joke. That was a joke. I think especially if you're more flexible, it's great to practice going more slowly, going less deeply into the pose, and to offer these options for our students. Okay, so the other option is to put up.
Could I say something about that?
Yeah, let me just show this.
All right.
Come forward, and then hug the bolster and soften the elbows.
Or you could put the arms up around the front of the bolster, stick them in the strap. It's up to you. If you do what she's doing now, wait, go back. Make sure you relax the shoulder blades down. Ha. So I was going to say something about this. Here's a quote from me. I know you can do more, but can you do less? For some of us, highly enthusiastic yoga crazies, as I was in my youth, I always wanted more, to stay longer, to do more sun salutations, to get the next advanced pose. But now my challenge in my life, in my practice, because your life and your practice are mirrors looking at each other, is can I do less? And can I simply be present? Up you come.
Oh, no. My 4.5-year-old twin boys have invented this word where they say "man no," and it means no. It's like a strong no. I say, "Come on, put on your jackets, we're leaving," and then they say, "Man no." And so then I say to them, I've invented the word "man yes." No, man yes. Okay, our next pose in this sequence is Urdhva Paschimottanasana, upward facing forward fold, which is a simple but surprisingly rewarding posture. You're going to place your bolster like so, and then close your legs slowly. Maybe come up to an Uttanasana for a breath or two as you transition. And then inhale, come up.
Take off the blanket.
Okay. So I want to have the blanket nearby. I'm going to use it in the pose. And if I were you practicing at home, I might have an eye cover nearby. We're not going to stay super long, but just to begin to suggest to your nervous system that it might be okay to downshift. I'm going to have an eye cover nearby to demonstrate it. So what we're doing in this position is inverting.
Could I inject for one moment before you go to instruction? This is an inversion. It's not to be done during menstruation or pregnancy.
Yeah. As well, use your common sense. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't right. If you have like a congested head cold type of thing.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. Also, of course, any concern about the cervical spine or pressure doesn't feel right, then just watch. So I'm going to take a blanket and fold it and then roll it to prepare it for the pose. Then I'm going to shift gently back. And the trickiest part is finding the right position, because this is kind of a balancing act. And the idea is you want the legs to be tipping in a very comfortable way this way towards the upper body. You don't want it to be here where it's just my tailbone that's on. That feels very heavy in the lower back and uncomfortable. And you don't want to be so far on the bolster that you're in a back bend in your lumbar spine. So the lumbar spine here is rounded, scooped, flexion.
The back
And
of your
then,
waist is rounding down toward the floor.
and then what feels really good for my body, although you need to experiment, is to place a rolled blanket here and then catch. This does not feel good if you've just eaten a big meal. But your legs are relaxed. There's not a lot of effort holding them up. You can also, what feels, ooh, I'm gonna actually show that because I'm craving it myself. What feels really good is to do a second blanket behind. You're trying to create a sense of comfort in the pose, which is kind of a foreign concept, I think, in many yoga classes or yoga rooms, yoga circles.
That's ironic,
Mom.
isn't it?
I know, because we think it's like the poses are supposed to be uncomfortable. But could you talk for a moment, Mom, while we enjoy the pose, about comfort? The value of comfort.
This is a supported pose. So the reason you have the props is that the props are doing the work. And the pose is, you are receiving the pose, not creating it. If you do triangle pose, you're busy doing triangle pose. You are the doer and the pose is the receiver. But the way I think of restorative poses like this is the pose is the doer and we are the receiver. And what this does, this blanket between the first blanket she put in, it puts a pressure on the uterus and the bladder area. And I've had a number of students who have difficulty with prolapse tell me this is relieving for them. So I need you to promise me that you're going to work slowly and carefully and don't teach any of these things that you haven't done yourself for a while. And if you have any concerns, to check with your healthcare people. But this can be such a satisfying pose, especially when you use the props the way we're using them. But what you need to do in this pose that's critical is to give up ambition. You're not trying to go anywhere else. You're just trying to be there and feel this weight.
And it's so quieting to my mind.
I like to call this pose Urdhva, which means upside down. Perhaps you all know the word Urdhva Dhanurasana, upside down bow. So Urdhva Paschimottanasana, which is the hardest forward bend there is. You just sit up with your legs straight in front of you and you bend forward. You don't get to bend one leg or cheat around the edges. It's just like, so I think of it's related to Uttanasana, standing up, forward bend, and then sitting down, forward bend. So standing up is Uttanasana, sitting down is Paschimottanasana. And this is sort of, if you would straighten your legs and take out the top blanket. So just take off the top blanket. So now you see it looks like an upside down forward bend. but it shouldn't, it shouldn't be about stretching. Stretching is not what we're doing. We're opening to the moment. So bending the knees is fine. You still have that pressure. And the lower back is rounded. Slightly drop the chin, Lizzie, if you would. How's that?
I'm
All right,
nonverbal.
time to come out.
5 more breaths.
I'll let there be a little silence while you all do this pose. All right, Lizzie, we need time for our shavasana now.
Okay, transitioning slowly. Take the blankets away, and then lower one at a time your legs to the floor, your feet to the floor, and take a moment to just readjust. Then I think it feels really good to lift and to remove the bolster, come down flat. Take a couple rounds of breath here. Before you roll to the side. And then press yourself up. Really use your hands. Let your head be heavy and press yourself up to sitting. After that strenuous practice, it's now time for shavasana.
Lizzie, I want to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel introverted? Your energy
Yes.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah. The wave moving away from the shore, not pounding against the beach like we do all day long.
It's an exhalation, a full body exhalation.
Yeah.
If
So
it's
let
easy,
go.
letting go. If it's easy, if you're close to your computer, give a word, a single word in the chat. Debbie says Lizzie looks relaxed. I know. It's like a single word in the chat, how you feel from an interoceptive perspective, from the inside out, when you close your eyes for a moment and connect with your internal state. Still, calm, peaceful, luscious, shanti, blissful, steady.
Not to be done in the period.
No, not when you're bleeding. Soft. Oh, I love all these words. Ease, bliss, present and complete. Leah wants more. You got to join Somatic Woman, Leah. You're going to love it. Spacious, weightless, calm, pain-free. Gooey. Okay, absolutely. Mimi, I see your hand, but I'm lovingly ignoring it because we must move to Shavasana. We're going to practice a variation of Shavasana today that's called Stonehenge Shavasana. If you like this pose and want to learn more about this pose, then I recommend Mama's book, which is called Restore and Rebalance. This pose is in here. It's one of the 5 delicious Shavasanas that's in this book.
There's 6.
5.
5, okay.
I'm certain of it. It's the last 5 of the 20 poses are Shavasana.
So when we say we call it Stonehenge, we say it with quotes, because Stonehenge is an ancient religious, spiritual structure in the United Kingdom that's in circles, and it's really fascinating how they even got the rocks there from so far away and what it all meant. But it has posts, and then it has lentils. Lentil is the part, not like the food we eat, lentils, but a lentil spelled differently across the top, sort of like this and like this. And that's kind of, if you can show them from the side when you have a minute, that's what it looks like. So it doesn't have, it's a form of Shavasana with the legs elevated, but just for fun, I like to call it Stonehenge Shavasana.
Our definition of Shavasana are restorative poses where the head and the heart are on the same level. That's why there's lots of variations. I'm going to show the setup. Let me spotlight myself again. We absolutely hope you're practicing with us. even if you have to approximate the props right now, you could put your legs up on a couch, for example, and practice with us, but please do turn your phone on airplane mode, close your door, give yourself now 15 minutes of stillness. I'm going to demo the setup, and then Mama's still here with us. She's going to guide us into the pose. There's a library of guided shavasanas in the course Somatic Woman. And then Mama will mute herself and there will be silence. We're all practicing together. Nothing's happening. And then Mama will ring her bells and bring us back together. We'll say goodbye and go on with our days. So I'm going to get a pillow for my head and 2 pillows for my wrists. Moving through the setup a little bit quickly so we have time in the pose. If you don't get it, again, you can look in the book. So I'm placing my legs over. This is the shape that Mama was mentioning, the Stonehenge shape, 2 blocks and a bolster elevated. Then I'm placing my legs over. The backs of my knees are supported.
And your heels are lower than your knees.
Yes. And then
could you just show, I know you want to hurry up and get there, but could you show your heels higher than your knees? Like if you're kind of like that, lower your blocks.
Yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to mute myself actually, Mom, and you can guide me a little bit in so there'll be silence in the pose.
All right. Put your legs over so the backs of the knees are completely supported. Stand on your forearms and imagine your pelvis and your sacrum are glued to the floor, and a little bit push forward with your arms and round your back and make sure your lower ribs are on the floor first, and then roll back. Lizzie likes, and it's nice if you have a little support for your wrists. Oh, but first you need to fold the blankets, at least 1. You could use 2 or even 3. Fold it so it's skinny, Lizzie. So you make the weight between the pubic bone and navel, right on that area where the uterus is. So if you have a sandbag, many of you have sandbags, 10-pound sandbags, you put that on there, not while you're menstruating though. Don't use weight on the belly if you're menstruating. But if you could even put 3 blankets, I'm not going to ask her to get up to show you, but the weight is very pacifying for the energy of the belly. And do you have a blanket to cover up with? Yes. Knees again. She gets her knees there. Make sure the blanket is not pushing the toes down. She lengthens her lower back. She sets herself down. She adds the weight. And yes. The heels lower than the knees. Yeah. So you want to make sure your leg is over the bolster so that happens. She likes. So if you put something under your wrist, it should be just under the wrist. The elbows are on the floor. You're not elevating the wrist, you're elevating the hand so the shoulders drop down. So bend your arm a little bit more halfway up, Lizzie, toward you, and you can just nod that you feel the shoulders drop. You feel the shoulders drop? Yes. Okay. The first part of any shavasana is to pay attention to the shape of the body. Are both calves sort of on the inside of your lower leg? Is the weight even on the buttocks? Are you lying on the sacrum evenly? Are the right leg and the left leg equidistant from the midline? Let your back ribs drop a little bit. Invite your fingers to softly and naturally curl inward. Swallow and relax the tongue and release the teeth. Let them part. Imagine your forehead skin is just getting broad. And right at the bridge of the nose, imagine some space. Let your cheeks hang. Move deeply to the center of the brain. You are taking the position of stillness. You are creating the mood of silence. You are establishing your presence in this moment. There is no one to serve, nothing to do. You are complete in the moment as you are. Like a still pond reflects the moon, reflect the grace of this moment to the universe. Shavasana. Slowly, slowly inhale the breath. As you exhale, roll your kneecaps to look at the ceiling. Exhale, bring your lower back down. And drag your legs one by one. Try to keep your pelvis completely still when you do that. And then roll to the side of choice. And slowly sit. Or you can just stay there for the rest of the day.
Such a pleasure, Mama. Thank you so much. I'd love to see in the chat another word from those of you who just did the practice with us. How do you feel in your body right now? I feel grounded, grateful, luscious, dreamy, relaxed, content, peaceful, present, brand new, integrated, cared for. Oh, soft and hungry. Yeah. Relaxation. We need to be relaxed to tap into our true hunger.
I just want to say a word of gratitude to all the people from thousands and thousands of years ago that handed forward this wisdom. And we have the great good luck and the great blessings of being able to practice and to teach yoga. Turn your palms away from your body, inhale the breath. Exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. Namaste.
Namaste.
May we live like the lotus, at home in the muddy water. Thank you, Lizzie, so much. Thank all of you for your kind attention and all the wonderful work you do in the world.
Absolutely. Let me give you the websites before we say goodbye. Here, Lasater.yoga is where you can find our brand new course, Somatic Woman. We hope you'll join us before May 8th when the course starts. There's also another free session like this on Thursday with the wonderful Mary Richards, and it's called the Menopause Belly. So hopefully if you got your way here, you can also sign up for that. If not, you can always email me if you need the link to the Zoom link for that class. You can email me at lasater.yoga@gmail.com. That comes to me. Anything and everything that Mama is doing, you can find at judith.yoga, www.judith.yoga. You can sign up for her newsletter, etc. See her.
I will be in London teaching a level 2 restorative class and also a class, a weekend class on the pelvis is everything.
Yes. And you can find me here, lizzie.yoga. That's my website. You can subscribe to my free Sunday newsletter, etc. Thank you so much, Mama, for sharing your practice, your wisdom, your humor with us, being a guiding woman ahead of so many of us on the path. And thank you to you, our student, for being here. Your practice is not selfish. When you integrate this work, allow this work to deepen and soften into your body, it touches everyone that you come into contact with. It is a great act of service, actually, to first get silent and attend to our own needs. Goodbye, everyone. Lots of thank yous in the chat. Lots of love. Love you, Mama.
Love you so much, Lizzie. Bye.